I would have liked it better if she popped the balloon at the end. I'm just saying. Anyway, hello everyone, and how are you all doing today? I hope that you all had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Or Sunday. I did speak to you all on Saturday, which is when we covered the first part of this. So if you have not seen that part is technically the most important part. It goes through everything that Ash has done wrong with on passive, which is why this is all happening with the Securities and Exchange Commission. And today we're going to be continuing that. We don't have a lot of it left. So after that, we're going to go through some of the laws and like what the S.E.C does. And then we'll briefly talk about how they are going to be going to court, possibly. And then I am going to be reacting to a Bill Must video that was just released today that is extremely hilarious. So I hope you're in for the ride of your life with On Passive today. Hello, Devil's Advocate. Hand pink waving right back to you. Good to see you, Joe. I hope you're having a good day. April is not having a good day today. Unfortunately, her entire home is flooded, so please send her lots and lots and lots of love. I hope that gets taken care of. Mark, I sent you my email, so feel free to contact me. And yeah, I would like to see that for sure. Definitely send that to me. Hello, Kendall. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day and that everything is going well. So, yeah, I was very, very tired on Sunday and was doing family stuff. So it just didn't work out, obviously. Like, I wasn't really depending on that. I told you guys, I was like, wait, tomorrow's Sunday. Probably not going to be streaming tomorrow. I'll see you all on Monday. So here I am. And on Mondays on my channel, we usually do cover multi-level marketing or some kind of scam here. So, you know, that's what we're doing today. I'm sorry to hear that, Joe. I hope you feel better. I am also all messed up right now. I am having flare-up galores. I'm having a hard time myself. So just know you're not alone in that. But today we're going to be going through the remainder of the document. We're on page 38. There is a link to it in the description. And I can also send a link via the chat for all of you so that you can click on it if you do want to follow along with us. We are going to be starting at the first claim for relief, which is it's telling us what they want from Ash now. So in our last stream, like I said, they laid out everything that Ash has done wrong with On Passive, why this is all happening. They had examples of a lot of it, right? Like they could give us a date, give us a quote. And then now we're going to be talking about what they want from him in order to kind of like make this better, if you will. Make amends if he can, which mainly comes in the form of paying everyone back the money that they put into this thing. So let's just get right into it. I don't want to waste much time today. So, like I said, we're on page 38, first claim for relief. It says unregistered offers and sales of securities in violation of Securities Act, Section 5A and 5C. And then, of course, in parentheses, it says against the defendants, ASHRAF, MUFAREH, and On Passive. So it tells us that paragraphs 110, 21 to 22, and 91 to 95 are re-alleged and incorporated by reference as though fully set forth herein. Investors in defendants' pyramid structure sale program, so basically those that were in On Passive, as described in paragraphs 1 to 17, 24 to 29, and 32 to 63, made investments of money in a common enterprise about which they were led to expect profits from the effort of defendants or third parties. Investor subscriptions in the defendant's pyramid structured sales program constituted investment contracts. And investment contracts are considered securities. So since it's considered securities, That is why the Securities and Exchange Commission is supposed to be told of it. You know what I mean? They're in control of this. They have to follow all of the regulations and laws that the SEC would enforce. By engaging in the conduct described above, the defendants OnPassive and Ash, singly and in concert with others. And this is why I keep saying, like, there is a chance in future that it won't just be Ash that ends up in trouble for this. Because, they do bring up that there were other people that were promoting this on his behalf quite often. Ken is telling you to make a drain. Make a drain, April. Just drill a big hole in the floor. That will help. That's what Ash would do. So they said defendants singly and in concert with others made use of the means or instruments of transportation or communication in interstate commerce or of the mails to offer to sell or to sell securities or carried or caused to be carried through the mails or interstate commerce by means or instruments of transportation, securities for the purpose of sale or for delivery after sale, when no registration statement had been filed or was in effect as to such securities, and when no exemption from registration was applicable. When we're done reading this document, we're actually going to go through the laws quick. And I'm going to explain to you, like, what they mean by the registration and what makes you exempt from it, so that you'll understand that part if you don't. Because, this stuff is written, legal documents are written weird, okay? And sometimes they don't make much sense when you're first reading through them, or especially when you're just listening to someone like me read them to you. So I think it would be helpful if when we're done this, we actually go through the laws and you'll kind of understand what that means in more detail. And they'll explain to you the whole transportation thing and everything. By engaging in the conduct described above, the defendants directly or indirectly violated, and by directly or indirectly, they mean basically knowingly or without knowing, right? Like Ash either knew he was violating and didn't give a fuck, he was violating it, right? And went ahead anyway, or for some reason he was unaware and had no clue. So, like, they can't speak and say for sure that he knew or not. I mean, he is kind of dumb. You have to admit, if you went and watched some of his webinars, you too would kind of be like, yeah, maybe the guy just didn't really know all the laws. It seems like he's not very good at looking into that and doing things legally. Like, there was no business plan or compensation plan, like I keep saying. Like, there were things that should have been done here in starting a business that were not done. And so they can't for sure on paper be like, yes, he did this knowingly and wanted to violate. So in order to ensure that they can hold him responsible for this no matter what, they've included that he may not have known, but the responsibility to find out still falls on him, in like the law, right? The law would look at that and be like, okay, but even if you didn't know, it was your job as the CEO and owner and operator of OnPassive to go and fucking find out first, right? Like, so he can't claim ignorance even if ignorance was there. That's kind of why it's written in this lingo, if you will. Yeah, I think he knows more than he lets on at all times, and I do think he plays kind of dumb sometimes. But exactly, the ignorance of the law is not a legal defense, and just to like ensure that, that's why they use terminology like the defendant directly or indirectly violated. It's like he either knew he was violating or he didn't know. He either directly did something to violate or he did something that somehow later on the line led to the violation. They want to ensure that no matter what, the lingo they use in this document makes it so that he is responsible. He can't claim ignorance, and he can't try to say, oh, I just did this one little thing and had no clue that 3 steps later it would be a violation. There's no way that he can try to get out of it, because as the business owner, it's up to him to fucking know, right? It's up to him to know the laws, to ensure he's following them, and etc. So that's why the language sometimes in these documents sounds like they're using a million words to describe something that they could say a lot easier in like a sentence, you know? And it's because they're trying to like dot all the I's and cross all the T's in that way. And they do that a lot in here. It's a good thing. Hello. It's all over just about Red Redgrave. Was at a conference yesterday. Nothing to do with nothing passive. Well, I hope he, for once, did something in his life that didn't have to do with on passive, honestly. He needs a break, that dude. Hello, Takara. I hope you're doing well. Mark says Ash will get his wrist slapped hard. He's always encouraging the leaders by appearing on their channels. That's irresponsible for an owner and CEO of business. And see, that's the other reason why it's directly or indirectly. Because it's like, he either did this or he like had Red promote it that way. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, but at the end of the day, he's the one that's responsible here. I also do think it leaves it open in case in future, if this does get bigger and worse, then they can go after, you know, everyone involved if they so choose to. So they said that the defendants directly or indirectly violated all of that by engaging in that conduct, and unless enjoined, are reasonably likely to continue to violate. So this isn't like they violated it, we let them know, and now they seem to be sorry and trying to fix it. It's like, yeah, if we don't do something about this, they're just going to keep doing this. The second claim for relief says fraud in violation of Securities Act, sections 17A1 and A3. And that's the one we're going to really look at. Paragraphs 1 to 17, 21 to 22, 24 to 29, and 33 to 99 are re-alleged and incorporated by reference as of fully set forth herein. By engaging in the conduct described above, defendants in the offer or sale of any securities by the use of the means or instruments of transportation or communication in interstate commerce, or by use of the mails directly or indirectly, A, knowingly or recklessly employed a device, scheme, or artifice to defraud as alleged in paragraphs 1 to 17, 24 to 29, and 33 to 99. B, negligently obtained money or property by means of an untrue statement of a material fact or an omission to state a material fact necessary in order to make the statements made, in light of the circumstances under which they were made, not misleading, as alleged in paragraphs 1, 11, 12, 37, 41, 46, 51, 52, 54, 57, 60, 63 to 80, and 84 to 90. So basically, they lied a lot. Negligently engage, this is C, negligently engage in a transaction, practice, or course of business which operated or would operate as a fraud or deceit upon the purchaser, as alleged in paragraphs 1 to 17, 24 to 29, and 33 to 99. By reason of the foregoing, defendants violated and, unless enjoined, are reasonably likely to continue to violate Section 17A1A3 of the Securities Act. The third claim for relief says fraud in connection with the purchase or sale of securities in violation of Exchange Act, Section 10B and Rules 10B 5A to C thereunder. Again, all of this is against defendants, ASH, and OnPassive. Paragraphs 1 to 17, 21 to 22, 24 to 29, and 33 to 99 are realleged and incorporated by reference as though fully set forth herein. By engaging in the conduct described above, defendants directly or indirectly, by use of the means or instrumentalities of interstate commerce or of the mails knowingly or recklessly, A, employed a device, scheme, or artifice to defraud as alleged in paragraphs 1 to 17, 24 to 29, and 33 to 99. Made an untrue statement of a material fact or omitted to state a material fact necessary in order to make the statements made in the light of the circumstances under which they were made, not misleading as alleged in paragraphs 1, 11, 12, 37, 41, 46, 51, 52, 54, 57, 60, 33 to 80, and 84 to 90. Again, they lied a lot. C, engaged in an act, practice, or course of business which operates or would operate as a fraud or deceit upon any person as alleged in paragraphs 1 to 17, 24 to 29, and 33 to 99. By engaging in the foregoing misconducts, the defendants violated and, unless enjoined, are reasonably likely to continue to violate Exchange Act Section 10B, 10B 5A to C thereunder. And the fourth claim for relief is violation as a controlled person of Exchange Act Section 10B and Rule 10B 5A to C against ASH. And this one doesn't have OnPassive listed, but I'm sure it is sort of it's what ASH did with OnPassive, right? So paragraphs 1 to 17, 19, 21 to 22, 24 to 29, and 33 to 99 are realleged and incorporated by reference as though fully set forth herein, as alleged in paragraphs 1 to 17, 24 to 29, and 33 to 99. OnPassive violated Exchange Act Section 10B and Rule 10B 5A to C. At all relevant times, at all relevant times, MUFAREH controlled OnPassive and was a culpable participant in its violations of Exchange Act Section 10B and Rule 10B to 5A to C. Again, he's the one that controlled the company. He was the CEO. He's the one that makes all the decisions. No one else helps him make decisions. So it's on him. By reason of the foregoing, MUFAREH is liable as a controlling person. Right? That's what that means. He was the one that made all the decisions and told everyone else what to do and what to think and what was happening. Pursuant to Exchange Act Section 20A, for OnPassive's violations of Exchange Act Section 10B and Rules 10B 5A to C thereunder. The fifth claim for relief is unjust enrichment. It also says it's against Asmahan MUFAREH. So now this one is actually against his wife. Okay? And it says paragraphs 1 to 17, 21 to 23, 24 to 29, and 33 to 99 are realleged and incorporated by reference as though fully set forth herein, If you remember from our stream on Saturday, Ash was kind of silly. Hello, Insolent Violet. I hope you're having a good day. And you too, Jack. I hope you're having a great day. And Ash made a boo-boo where he forgot to give his wife an actual position in OnPassive. So it looked even worse that he transferred money from the business to her. There was absolutely no reason to do that due to the fact that she didn't even have a position. She had no control, allegedly, over any of the company or the decisions or etc. So the fact that they have proof that she has received money from them and there's no good reason for that, that basically is kind of what gave them the go ahead to realize that, yeah, she was doing some damn fraud. All right. And they must have been using these funds for things they weren't supposed to be using them for. Had she have been hired by him, it might have taken them a little longer to catch on to this part. I'm glad that they didn't, because it helped all of us. But at the same time, that part made me laugh a lot. I like to think that he really was that dumb, you know? Yes, no more Manny and Petties for her. Right? So this is just about her. And it says that Exchange Act Section 21D5 states, in any action or proceeding brought or instituted by the S.E.C. under any provision of the securities laws, the S.E.C. may seek, and any federal court may grant, any equitable relief that may be appropriate or necessary for the benefit of investors. Okay? That part's very important. For the benefit of investors, it is the part that fucked them over, okay? As alleged in paragraphs 1 to 17, 23 to 29, and 33 to 99, relief defendant, it was not an investor or an employee at all, ASHRAF MUFAREH received investor funds and assets that were the proceeds or are traceable to the proceeds of defendant's unlawful activities. And relief defendant ASHRAF MUFAREH has no legitimate claims to those proceeds and gave no consideration for exchange of those funds. If she had been hired by Ash and OnPassive, they wouldn't have been able to state that she has no legitimate claims to the proceeds. Excuse me. They might have been able to say that there was no consideration for exchange of those funds if they still went and got Manny and Petties and all that kind of stuff. And of course, like, misspent the money like they did. But they wouldn't have been able to say that she had zero legitimate claims. It would have been a lot harder for them to try to figure out what money she would have been able to get that would have been, quote unquote, legal for her to get as an employee, right? Because he's the one breaking the law technically then with the S.E.C., not the people that get paid as employees by him, right? It's just, he didn't actually pay anyone. This would have been like the only fucking payment in the books for an employee in this whole thing. But that's what I mean. Then it would have been a lot harder for them to be like, okay, well, how much was she making? And like, what money here was her quote unquote pay? And then what was supposed to be proceeds? But they weren't even that smart as con men. So as soon as he put 1 cent in her name, all right, it's like, boom, fraud is happening here. And it makes them go, well, what the fuck is she getting money for? So immediately they would have known. It just kind of makes me laugh, you know? Hello, Scam Chan. I hope you're having a great day. She needs the money. Yeah, that's the They're like, ma'am, what did you need the funds for? She's like, groceries and pedicures, and I wanted to buy some crypto. Right? Like, you know. So relief defendant Asmahan MUFAREH obtained the funds and assets as part of it in furtherance of the securities violations alleged in paragraphs 1 to 17, 21 to 22, 24 to 29, and 33 to 99, and under circumstances in which it is not just, equitable, or conscionable for them to retain the funds and assets. No fucking reason why she should have a cent from this thing. As a consequence, relief defendant Asmahan MUFAREH was unjustly, I like how they say enriched here. She was unjustly enriched. I'm sorry, that wording makes me giggle a bit because they make it sound like she was enriched with the world's best jewels and gold. And it's like, no, she stole a bunch of money and went and bought some crypto and groceries and got a mani-pedi and went to a spa day. But I don't know if I'd call that enriched. Scammy, I would call it. But, you know, I guess she was enriched. Oh, forgot the warning. YouTube auto mods are in effect. Swear words have to be approved. So be careful with them. Joe doesn't want to have to approve all of them constantly every day. We need video of Ash trying to explain on passive to the S.E.C. Well, see, he kind of did. In the webinar where I went on and got to, question him, right before that, he knew I was coming on, who I was. And so he came up with his defense for the S.E.C. before they brought me up, right? So he kind of did respond. And then he responded in that beautiful letter that Wanda shared, right? So we kind of have him trying to, I guess, explain it. But it would be amazing to be able to watch it in court. I will say that. So this is the relief requested now. So now they've outlined all the laws that they broke and why they broke them and gave examples in the last stream that I did and all that. Now they're saying, okay, now this is what we want of them because of what they've done here, all right? So, relief requested, page 43 out of 46. Wherefore, the S.E.C. respectfully requests the court find that defendants committed the violation charged and that, as a result of these violations, defendants and relief defendant Asmahan MUFAREH received ill-gotten gains and enter final judgments. Remember, they did not register with the S.E.C., and therefore any money that they made by investors, securities, any securities they got are ill-gotten. So they say, number one, they want permanent injunction, which I have to agree with. This is exactly what we want, okay? This is what I've been streaming about them to get. Permanently restraining and enjoining defendants MUFAREH and OnPassive, their officers, agents, servants, employees, attorneys, and all persons in active concert or participation with them, and each of them, from directly or indirectly violating the federal securities laws alleged in this amended complaint. And further, permanently restraining and enjoining defendants, their officers, agents, servants, employees, attorneys, and all persons in active concert or participation with them, and each of them from directly or indirectly offering, operating, or participating in any marketing or sales program in which a participant is compensated or promised compensation solely or primarily for inducing another person to become a participant in the program, or if such induced person induces another to become a participant in the program. If that goes through, that does mean that MUFAREH will not be able to open and operate any more MLM pyramid schemes. If, when he did AshMax, this had happened, OnPassive would have never happened. As soon as he went to go and try to register at a business as an LLC, which is a completely different thing than registering with the SEC, okay? You can be an LLC company and not be registered, which is what we have here. That's what OnPassive did. They wouldn't have been able to. If this goes through, he will not be able to operate a business at all. And I wish that they had done that before. I really do. You know? AshMax, did it really take in millions? It took in enough. Not as much as this, but it took in enough. You know? So that's what I mean. I really wish that this would have happened when that happened. Unfortunately, they just kind of got shut down. Like none of the SEC didn't come after them or any. So that's kind of the difference here. I do hope that that gets done. That's what we want. Number 2 is disgorgement with prejudgment interest, ordering defendants and relief defendant Asmahan MUFAREH to disgorge all ill-gotten gains with prejudgment interest as a result of the acts or courses of conduct alleged in this amended complaint, with disgorgement from the defendants to be on a joint and several basis pursuant to Exchange Act Section 21D3, Section 5, and 7. Okay? And this here is basically like you got to pay the money back. All right? We think that you owe some. Number 3, civil money penalties. Ordering defendants MUFAREH and OnPassive to pay civil money penalties pursuant to Securities Act Section 21D and Exchange Act Section 21D3. Officer and director bars. Number 4. Prohibiting defendant MUFAREH as an ASHRAF from acting as an officer or director of any issuer that has a class of securities registered pursuant to Section 12 of the Exchange Act, or that is required to file reports pursuant to Section 15D of the Exchange Act, pursuant to Section 21D2 of the Exchange Act, and Section 20E of the Securities Act. That goes through, and he's really fucked from running a business. 5 is further relief, granting such other and further relief as the court determines to be necessary and appropriate. Now, what does that mean? You're wondering, right? What that means is if this goes to a jury trial, okay, and they go and they get to deliberate, and then they get to decide what they think should happen as like what these people should do to make it right. They then have the right to demand more than the 108 million getting paid back, let's say. Maybe they also make them pay for all of the lawyer fees if there's like lawyer fees of the other side, because like more people come and want to join on and they get their own lawyers or something. Like I don't know how that will go completely, but that leaves that open. So that means that the court, the judge in this, along with the jury, if it goes to a jury trial, can also grant relief that they come up with, on top of also granting whatever's in this document that they're asking for. Or they can say, fuck you guys and what you're asking for, we'll come up with it. That's basically what it leaves it open to. So we want that. That's a good thing. Because sometimes the judge and the jury, they ask for more than even the S.E.C. does. Right? So it's like, yeah, sure, put that in there. Make sure that can happen. Hello, Chris. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Chris says, pretty sure that relief in this instance is to get Ash, or Ash, whatever you want to call him, to pause running the scam until the trial. So Ash can't collect money until the trial. I think they're doing everything in their power. I'm not 100% sure what more they can do. So, as we know, Ash is having a problem with banks right now because they have told all of the banks this is a scam. If people go to spend their money here, a message, like a warning, probably pops up, okay? So they can do things like that, but then Ash can also go and start Oatcoin and a Bitcoin and crypto. You know what I'm saying? And find loopholes for it. I don't think, because he's technically innocent until proven guilty in the courts, you know what I mean? Because he's saying, I haven't done any of these things that they're saying. That's his response right now, which is why they're going ahead so much now. And they have a court date set for future, because he's like, yeah, no, I didn't do nothing wrong. So it's like they can't overstep either. They can basically, like, they can probably just put warnings out to all the banks and any of the places where they where they have securities, you know? And then after that, it's like crypto isn't even registered with anything, and it's not real money or anything. So like they can't stop the crypto, for example. Do you get what I'm saying? And he's just going to keep finding ways around it. The good news is that as of right now, okay, you can't really buy in with the $97. And as of right now, he's just trying to take the $250 for the O Connect, which people are complaining right now because they have already paid that and then they haven't been able to use it. So they want to extend that trial. So I'm hoping that with all that going on, that will extend that so that people won't have to pay another $250 to him. I don't want him to get another cent either. It's just they can't really do much more than they're doing. You know, they don't control all of the monies in all of the world. And that's where it gets hard. They only control what's going on in the US too. So he's always going to have fucking loopholes with crypto. These people would buy Amazon gift cards to sign up for this thing, okay? Remember there was a time when he was telling them to buy those silly cards? And then I did a whole video where I broke down the cost of a bunch of them. And we realized it was actually like 130 instead of 97 to sign up for places and countries that had to get the card to do it, which was almost everywhere other than the Western countries, by the way. So it was like, what the fuck, Ash? Like, things like that, they can't really stop, you know? So it's a hard thing. Ken says, when they say they're using AI, is that true? It's been shown in the past that all AI eventually concludes that the human species needs to be eliminated. Judgment Day is coming. I've had a few people look into the AI use on the page, and allegedly they do not use AI. I'm just saying. A lot of that money has been converted to crypto. Good luck getting that back. The good news is that they do have $108 million that they have been able to trace as on passive funds. That's for sure. So even if he goes and he puts that into crypto and he fucks himself over from getting that money back and being able to easily give it back to people, that's not going to change if he loses this thing that he still owes $108 million. Do you get what I'm saying? They've clocked it at that. Here in these documents, it says 800,000 people, 1.12 million accounts, equated to $108 million. So that's what they'll go by. He can try and hide the funds all he wants, and it will just look like he hid the funds and spent the funds, but it does not change the numbers. And I don't know, like they would have gotten it last year right before they filed this, so I'm not 100% sure exactly how they came up with that, but that was before he started trying to funnel out the funds and really try to get rid of this money. So I feel like they caught him then, right at the perfect time, right before, it would have been a lot harder to figure it out. They somehow clocked him in at 800 people joined, 1.12 million accounts, $108 million. So he's fucked for that. It might take a while, but they'll do whatever. If he loses this thing and it turns out he has to pay that back, and he has to go get a job at McDonald's to do it, they'll garner his wages from there. Like they'll make him pay it back, especially since their main issue with him isn't that he fucked over other people. They have a problem with the fact that he fucked over other people and got ill-gotten gains with their money, but that's because he fucked over them. He tried to trick them. So that's what they're pissed about. They're like, you didn't properly register what you were doing here with us. These securities you didn't tell us about. And we're supposed to be like governing it, keeping track of it, ensuring you follow these laws. And we didn't even know about it. What the hell? You know? So the fact that he did that, they're going, yeah, no, you don't deserve to have anything going forward, dude. You can't run a business. You can't even follow our laws and register things properly. You know? Yeah, he's like made some like really bad jokes about this whole thing. He doesn't realize what this actually is. He thinks that it's just like they'll just be like, Ash, can you please stop doing what you're doing? Do you have products now? Yeah, you have products. Okay, we'll leave you alone. And then that's how this is going to go. He doesn't really understand the power that they have. The Burge cost $56,000 per show. Yes. Yeah, we talked about that when they were definitely first starting to put it up there. It was crazy expensive. Crazy expensive. It's like, what the fuck? Like, why? For what reason? And when that started, they didn't even have O Connect out yet. Okay, so there were no products. And you have to wonder, and this is kind of what this document also states, like, they don't have products, but they're marketing and having people sign up. Obviously, it's not about the products. Otherwise, instead of paying that for the Burj Khalifa and all these offices and marketing things, they put that into the products. Why are you opening up 3 new offices now? You know? You know? Like, why are we doing this? What's going on here? So then they say, for number 6, retention of jurisdiction. Further, the S.E.C. respectfully requests the court retain jurisdiction over this action and over defendants in order to implement and carry out the terms of all orders and decrees that may hereby be entered, or to entertain any suitable application or motion by the S.E.C. for additional relief within the jurisdiction of this court, as in the court in Orlando, Florida. Excuse me, in the very last page of this is the end, don't worry. Some people hate it when I read. We still have more to read, though, so I'm sorry for that. Too bad. At the very end, they demand for a jury trial, as I stated. They say, pursuant to Rules 38B and 39A of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, the S.E.C. demands trial by jury on all issues so triable. Respectfully submitted. Their attorneys, as in the attorneys for the Securities and Exchange Commission. Right? So, What the hell does the S.E.C. do? Now that we've read this document, what do they do? What does this all mean? What the fuck is going on? All right? What the hell, Queen? What is this? So the Securities and Exchange Commission, if you didn't know, is an independent agency of the U.S. federal government. All right? It was created in the aftermath of the good old Wall Street crash of 1929. Good old depression, you know? The primary purpose is to enforce the law against market manipulation. So we like them. In addition to the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, the S.E.C. enforces the Securities Act of 1933, the Trust Indenture Act of 1939, the Investment Company Act of 1940, the Investment Advertisers Act of 1940, the Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002, and other statutes. Now, they say they have a 3-part mission. It's to protect the investors. And remember, those in OnPassive, the O founders are considered investors in here. Maintain fair, orderly, and efficient markets. And then they also facilitate capital formation. Okay? It says to achieve its mandate, the S.E.C. enforces the statutory requirement that public companies and other regulated companies submit quarterly and annual reports, as well as other periodic reports. In addition to annual financial reports, company executives must provide a narrative account called the Management Discussion and Analysis that outlines the previous year of operations and explains how the company fared in that time period. It might also touch on the upcoming year, talking about future goals and approaches to new products. Right? The S.E.C. maintains an online database called EDGAR, which stands for the Electronic Data Gathering, Analysis, and Retrieval System. There's an online form which investors can access that, and then also other information that's filed with the agency, and you can, of course, report things to them. It says quarterly and semi-annual reports from public companies are crucial for investors to make sound decisions when investing in capital markets. Unlike banking, investment in the capital markets is not guaranteed by the federal government. The potential for big gains needs to be weighed against that of sizable losses. Mandatory disclosure of financial and other information about the issuer and the security itself gives private individuals, as well as large institutions, the same basic facts about the public companies they invest in, thereby increasing public scrutiny while reducing insider trading and fraud, which to them, OnPassive committed a hell of a lot of fraud. The S.E.C. makes reports available to the public through the EDGAR system. They also offer publications on investment-related topics for public education. They go on to say that the same online system takes tips and complaints from investors to help the S.E.C. track down violators of the securities laws. The S.E.C. adheres to a strict policy of never commenting on the existence or status of an ongoing investigation. Okay, that gets into the background. You can check out the funding and all of that fun stuff. They have several different divisions. They have corporate finance, trading and markets, investment management, their enforcement division, which is what OnPassive is having to deal with right now, and the economic and risk analysis. Okay. The enforcement division investigates violations of the securities laws and regulations to bring legal action against alleged violators. It is the largest division in terms of both headcount and budget, and its resources have been increased by more than half since the financial crisis of 2007 to 2008. The SEC can bring a civil action in a U.S. district court or an administrative proceeding, which is heard by an independent administrative law judge, an ALJ. The SEC does not have criminal authority, but may refer matters to state and federal prosecutors. And that's why I keep saying they can't actually charge Ash with anything criminally, but it's not off the table for in future. It depends on how everything goes. If he keeps acting like an idiot and telling them they're wrong and taking this all as a big joke, and then he loses this, and then he doesn't do what he's supposed to, or he continues on running this thing, then they can let the state and federal prosecutors know and be like, go get him. All right, he's not doing it. So one of the things that OnPassive is in trouble for is the registration process, okay? And apparently people don't fully understand what that means. So I thought it would be helpful if we went over it here. Run, tell Edgar. That might have to be a thing now over here. So the registration process, it says, unless they qualify for an exemption, which we'll get to what that means, securities offered or sold to a United States person must be registered by filing a registration statement with the S.E.C. Although the law is written to require registration of securities, it is more useful as a practical matter to consider the requirement to be that of registering offers and sales. If person A registers a sales of securities to person B, and then person B seeks to resell those securities, person B must still either file a registration statement or find an available exemption. The prospectus, which is the document through which an issuer's securities are marketed to a potential investor, is included as part of the registration statement. The SEC prescribes the relevant forms on which an issuer's securities must be registered. The law describes required disclosures in Schedule A and Schedule B. However, in 1982, the SEC created Regulation S.K. to consolidate duplicate information into an integrated disclosure system. Among other things, registration forms call for, and as we go through this, try to think of how OnPassive would have even explained this stuff, and maybe then you'll understand why this part never happened. Because this is what they didn't do this. They didn't do this, and because they didn't do this, any money they made was on ill-gotten gains. And then they found out that he took his wife to the spa and bought crypto with it. And they were like, Jesus Christ, you know? So just think of OnPassive. Ash MUFAREH, he's sitting down. He has to file this, right? Because he's in Orlando, Florida. That's in the US of A. You have to do this. You know, you're going to be selling stuff. Not only are you selling stuff, but you're telling people to come on a team so that they can sell stuff. So you got to register all this stuff, right? And then you got to explain all of this. So it calls for a description of the securities to be offered for sale. And I don't think Al with Heart would have done. Information about the management of the issuer. For a business with no real management, I mean, that would be hard, wouldn't it? Information about the securities, if other than common stock, and financial statements certified by independent accountants. Registration statements and the incorporated prospectuses become public shortly after they are filed with the S.E.C. The statements can be obtained from the S.E.C's website using Edgar. Our new friend. Screw L with heart, we like Edgar better. Registration statements are subject to S.E.C. examination for compliance with disclosure requirements, okay? And then Ash also faces the next issue of his. It is illegal for an issuer to lie in or to omit material facts from a registration statement or prospectus. Since there's no business plan and they're just making up how they go along, you can see how this would have all been very, very impossible. He lies all the time about what's happening over here with the products and what the products are, right? Like, how is he going to do this? Furthermore, when some true fact is disclosed, even if disclosing the fact would not have been required, it is illegal to not provide all other information required to make the fact not misleading. And this is why the language was used in the document we just read, where they talked often about how Ash never made the statement to allow people that this was misleading, like make sure he wasn't misleading people. Whenever he made statements, he couldn't do it, not even once. He was constantly misleading and lying about everything, all the time with this thing, So that's what he messed up on. And I'm sure you're like, okay, but there's exemptions. Yeah, well, Ash doesn't actually fall under the exemptions, right? Yeah, right, Scam Jam. Don't tell and don't show the products. The competition is wanting to steal them, all right? Mark Zuckerberg is just sitting there just waiting. He's like, Meta needs a new program. I think everyone realized it was just Facebook rebranded. And the metaverse sucks, from what I've heard. So, you better hide that Oaken Act. Better hide it. Because Ash is a common hustler who thinks rules don't apply to him. Exactly. And that's what I mean when I say, like, I know right now he's really just getting in trouble for not registering this properly as we're reading. Like, he was supposed to do all this stuff he didn't do. And then upon them looking into why he didn't do it, they realized it was because he was running a fucking scam. And, like, he had misappropriated the funds that were all gotten under ill gains. And just the whole thing was a mess. So right now, they can only really go after him for breaking these laws we're talking about right now. But in future, if he keeps on acting up because of this, what you said, the fact that he really does seem to think that about himself, there's a chance that this could get worse for him. And I could see him, even if he loses this thing in a couple years. Because, by the way, they do have a court date set. It is for 2025, February. Okay, it will be happening then. I know it sounds a long ways away, and it is. And I guess they can amend this as many times as they need to. Like if he keeps on adding more and more stuff that they can add to this over the next little while, apparently it's possible they can just keep adding to it, I'm told. Like until the day of the court, So if he keeps acting like an idiot and he doesn't just realize this and try to right this in some way, he'll really fuck himself over or face even more issues. Just wait until Beth shows the latest bill. Oh, yes, we are doing that very, very soon. Don't you worry. I have a few of them to show you. Don't worry. We're going to be reacting to the best one, though. So they do have exemptions. So I think that, to be fair here, let's just go over the exemptions and why. And like as we go over them, you'll understand why Unpassive did not have this exemption. And they did have to do what we just read. So not all offerings of securities must be registered with the S.E.C. I feel like Ash might have read this part and then been like, oh yeah, I fall under this, without even fucking looking into it any further or asking a lawyer or anything, you know? Section 3A outlines various classes of exempt securities, and Section 3B allows the S.E.C. to write rules exempting securities if the agency determines that registration is not needed due to the small amount involved or the limited character of the public offering. Okay? Which, by the way, you also have to apply for this exemption. So, like, the thing is, even if Ash could have been exempted, he just didn't contact the S.E.C. at all. Like, he didn't apply for an exemption. He didn't do the registration stuff. He didn't let them know about any of the securities whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. And that's what he did wrong here. So it's like he didn't take any steps to follow these laws. That's the problem. No steps whatsoever to try to follow the S.E.C. laws, the Securities and Exchange Act, and the likes that we keep talking about, right? So since he took no steps to even follow the laws, he's in trouble for it. They say Section 3B allows the S.E.C. to write rules exempting securities if the agency determines that registration is not needed due to the small amount involved or the limited character of the public offering. Again, the agency determines, which means that you still have to let them know, like, hey, I'm doing this. Do I have to register? So it's like, no matter what, you still got to kind of let them know you're selling shit, okay? Section 4A2 exempts transactions by an issuer not involving any public offering, which has historically created confusion due to the lack of a specific definition of public offering. Historically created confusion due to this lack. So it's like, let's actually define it, you know? They say the Supreme Court provided clarification in S.E.C. versus Ralston Purina Co. You can look that up. Some exemptions from the registration requirements include private offerings to a specific type or limited number of persons or institutions, offerings of limited size, intrastate offerings, and securities of municipal, state, and federal governments. Regardless of whether securities must be registered, okay, the 1933 Act makes it illegal, which, by the way, can you guys, like, redo this act? It's been a long fucking time, okay? Well, 1933, come on. Makes it illegal to commit fraud in conjunction with the offer or sale of securities. A defrauded investor can sue for recovery under the 1933 Act, even if you're exempt from the registration. So they're saying being exempted from the registration does not necessarily, like, you still have to follow the laws, okay? And you cannot fraud people. And if you follow these laws, then you're not frauding people. You don't follow these laws, you are frauding. So that's what they're saying. This is so that people can do, like, private sales of things, like on Facebook Marketplace, run a small business via, like, Facebook Marketplace, and then not necessarily have to register it as selling of securities. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of thing that would be. There's no way that an MLM business would ever be exempt in any of these ways. So no matter what, he is supposed to, let them know. The other section that they constantly talked about is Section 17, fraudulent interstate transactions. And you're probably like, okay, well, what does that mean? Well, here it is. You're welcome. I had to look it up on the Wayback Machine. Use of interstate commerce for purpose of fraud or deceit. Okay? So, it shall be unlawful for any person in the offer or sale of any securities or any security-based swap agreement as defined in Section 206B of the Graham-Leake-Bliley Act by the use of any means or instruments of transportation or communication in interstate commerce or by use of the mails directly or indirectly. Number 1, to employ any device, scheme, or artifice to fraud, which they've quoted this. Number 2, to obtain money or property by means of any untrue statement of a material fact or any omission to state a material fact necessary in order to make the statements made, in light of the circumstances under which they were made, not misleading. That's the one that they broke a lot at on passive. And number 3, to engage in any transaction, practice, or course of business which operates or would operate as a fraud or deceit upon the purchaser. B states, use of interstate commerce for purpose of offering for sale. It shall be unlawful for any person by the use of any means or instruments of transportation or communication in interstate commerce or by the use of the mails to publish, give publicly to, or circulate any notice, circular, advertisement, newspaper, article, letter, investment service, or communication which, though not purporting to offer a security for sale, describes such security for a consideration received or to be received directly or indirectly from an issuer, underwriter, or dealer without fully disclosing the receipt, whether past or prospective, of such consideration and the amount thereof. So they obviously broke that too. We don't know what anything costs, okay? As long as you don't convey your neighbor's. Yeah, wire fraud. Wire fraud is a good example of something that would completely be breaking all of these. The S.E.C rules don't apply in on-passive land. They have their own on-passive time and even their own currency, right? The O coin. It's like stepping down the rabbit hole in Alice in Wonderland, ain't it though? So, now you get what I'm doing with my channel. C, exemptions of Section 3 not applicable to this section. So, like, this is the Anti-Fraud Act, basically. Section 17 in the Securities Act. So, this is basically says, don't fraud people. You're not allowed to make money frauding people and lying to people about what you're selling, how you're selling it, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Just don't do it. None of it's legal. Stop this. Stop that right now. Right? And if you break these, then they're going to come after you. It even says that the 1933 Act contains that anti-fraud provision. That is considered the anti-fraud provision, what we just read. When the 1934 Act was enacted, questions remained about the reach of that anti-fraud provision and whether a private right of action, that is the right of an individual private citizen to sue an issuer of stock or related market actor, as opposed to government suites, existed for purchasers. As it developed, Section 10B, which you just heard me talk about a whole bunch while I was reading the end of that document, of the 1934 Act and corresponding S.E.C. Rule 10b-5. Remember 10b-5, A to C? We was just talking about this. have sweeping anti-fraud language. Okay? Section 10B of the Act, as amended, provides, in pertinent part, this is the one they're breaking, remember this, it shall be unlawful for any person, directly or indirectly, by the use of any means or instrumentality of interstate commerce, or of the mails, or of any facility of any national securities exchange, to use or employ in connection with the purchase or sale of any security registered on a national securities exchange, or any security not so registered. So see, it says even the ones not registered, or any securities-based swap agreement. Any manipulative or deceptive device to contravene in contravention of such rules and regulations as the Commission may prescribe as necessary or appropriate in the public interest or for the protection of investors. Section 10B is codified at 15 U.S.C. blah, 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 blah. This one too, right? We kept talking about it. The breadth and utility of Section 10B and Rule 10b-5 from the S.E.C. in the pursuit of securities litigation are significant. Rule 10b-5 has been employed to cover insider trading cases, but has also been used against companies for price fixing, artificially inflating or depressing stock prices through stock manipulation, bogus company sales to increase stock price, and even a company's failure to communicate relevant information to investors. This is why I say companies have to give you the ability to make an informed, educated decision about the company. You know, because that's a thing. Many plaintiffs in the securities litigation field plead violations of Section 10B and Rule 10b-5 as a catch-all allegation, in addition to violations of the more specific anti-fraud provisions in the 1934 Act. Right? So, we know all that now. That kind of further explains, goes through the laws, and these are the laws that were broken by ONPASSIVE. If you are in the USA and you were ever a part of ONPASSIVE, please do get a hold of the Securities and Exchange Commission. They do have office of people like me. You know, ONPASSIVE is going to come out victorious no matter what. Lies are clear from the truth. The truth will come out. The truth has come out. It has been. I'm very, very sorry that Ash and his wife, instead of putting the money back into the company to build the products, decided to buy crypto, groceries, go to the spa, get her nails did, pay for hotels. Because that money's gone now, I hope you're ready to pay $250 for OConnect. He needs more, okay? He needs more money. Blow the whistle hard. Blow it so hard. The good news, though, is that, yes, the S.E.C. has the office of the whistleblower, and I think this is very, very, very important to go over. If you are ever a part, okay, of a company like this, look at this, latest news. S.E.C. awards whistleblower more than $18 million. S.E.C. awards more than $104 million to 7 whistleblowers. S.E.C. awards whistleblower more than $9 million. Go get yours. Go get it. Assistance and information from a whistleblower who knows of possible securities law violations can be among the most powerful weapons in the law enforcement arsenal of the S.E.C. Through their knowledge of the circumstances and individuals involved, Whistleblowers can help the Commission identify possible fraud and other violations much earlier than might otherwise have been possible. That allows the Commission to minimize the harm to investors, better preserve the integrity of the U.S. capital markets, and more swiftly hold accountable those responsible for unlawful conduct, such as MUFAREH and OnPassive. The Commission is authorized by Congress to provide monetary awards to eligible individuals who come forward with high-quality original information that leads to a Commission enforcement action in which over $1 million in sanctions is ordered. We're now $108 million with OnPassive. The range for awards is between 10% and 30% of the money collected. The Office of the Whistleblower was established to administer the SEC's whistleblower program. We understand that the decision to come forward with information about securities fraud or other wrongdoings is not taken lightly, gets you fair gamed and attacked all over the internet, and we are here to answer any questions you may have. You can reach the Office of the Whistleblower at 202-551-4790. They have an entire Office of the Whistleblower hotline. So this is why, okay, and this was just fixed up on November 14th of this year, modified, okay? So this is the brand new one. If you know of a company that is breaking the SEC laws, you have whistleblower protection. You come to this website right here, the sec.gov/whistleblower, and you go to submit a tip. This is how you can help keep your U.S. market honest. You do that, and I'll keep covering these scams on my channel. All right, and eventually something will happen, because I'm not the only one. So, this right here is where you go to submit a tip to the S.E.C. Please make sure that you do so if you know of any other companies that are breaking these laws. And also, please get a hold of them if you are a part of OnPassive and you want your money back. Especially if Ash is not getting you your money back. As you can see, this was filed on August 11th of 2023. Okay? The release number is LR25809. We just went through the amended complaint. Okay, so when you get a hold of the SEC and you're a whistleblower, you want to let them know. You can come and look it up at this website here, the sec.gov/litigation/lit releases. Scroll all the way down until you see August 11th of 2023, and then you'll find MUFAREH and OnPassive. And when you do your tip, you let them know you are a part of LR25809. Okay, and that you have given money to OnPassive. And you want to know how you can go about either being a part of this so that they pay you back, or, helping them to blow some whistles if you can. I know I got some people in my chat that could definitely do that. I recommend doing it. You go off. You get yours. Do it. Do it, do it, do it. Okay, we are going to take a small little 4.5-minute break in which you are going to be watching a Bill Musk production called When OnPassive Goes Viral. When I come back, we are going to be reacting to one called Why Do People Quit MLMs? And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but Queen, OnPassive is allegedly not an MLM. I know. This should be fun. I'll see you in 4.5 minutes.
When OnPassive goes viral by releasing O-Connect to the world, people who use OnPassive AI lead technology will create a leveled playing field for all who are not gurus or technically savvy individuals. With O-Connect leading the way with a single sign-on feature, those forgotten 98% who failed trying to make money on the internet will finally be recognized as winners, not losers. The man who did not forget about the 98% who failed has created OnPassive as the way to completely reverse that failure. Everyone will now be able to make money on the internet. It took a man with vision, love, empathy, compassion, and the knowledge of how to make money on the internet to help those in need of guidance. OnPassive reflects its creator, Mr. MUFAREH. We are blessed to be in his sphere of influence. OnPassive is that beacon of light that is guiding those in these turbulent waters of the internet to safety and financial security. OnPassive will massively cause millions to have a better life as customers of OnPassive's new AI technology. We know that most will be customers and just need OnPassive to save the money while conducting their businesses online. For that, we love them. But for the ones who want to have more out of life, the affiliate position is the ultimate place to be a part of OnPassive. In that position, you will be able to help more people realize their financial goals. It is a unique position to attain. It is a goldmine. With the affiliate position, we will be able to feed the hungry and provide shelter for those who have been disenfranchised, the poor who barely are able to eat day to day, just to name a few. OnPassive is like love. Love is caring about people. Love has no borders or boundaries. Love has no limits. OnPassive is built on love. OnPassive cares about people, and OnPassive does not care who you are or what country or race you are. OnPassive is built on love. What unites us as affiliates is the love we have for each other and all people. OnPassive was designed so that no one is left behind. Mr. MUFAREH's love for people moved him to design a company that is people-friendly. We are a universal family with a goal to help as many as possible change their financial destiny. We affiliates will be able to help. Very soon, the best-kept secret on the internet will emerge as the most successful company ever to be publicly launched on the internet. The internet will change forever. OnPassive will be the biggest disruptor ever to hit the internet. This disruptor will shake up all tech companies and other companies that have massive failures for people who use their products and services. Imagine this, a company built to reverse the financial misfortunes of hard-working people. Never has a company been designed to do that. OnPassive is that company. OnPassive is built to set records that will continue to do that. Hundreds of millions of people are able to use the internet without fear of being taken advantage of by companies that put profits above people. The companies that now operate with putting profits above people will ultimately have to change their business models and infrastructure to try to duplicate what OnPassive is doing. Mr. MUFAREH said he could give other companies his blueprint for how OnPassive has been designed, and those companies still will not be able to catch up to OnPassive. Those companies are built for the stock market and their stockholders. OnPassive is privately owned and will never go public on any stock exchange. Instead of stockholders, OnPassive has affiliates and customers being introduced to the world. Never has there been a company built on helping people. OnPassive is that company. Make no mistake about this. OnPassive will be a massive money maker. The sales made by OnPassive will be shared with its affiliates. The affiliates with giving spirits will share their income, and after they have taken care of themselves and their families, will share with others who need help. What a loving and powerful way of showing just how much affiliates feel about those who are less fortunate than others. Mr. MUFAREH and his staff of brilliant technology experts, media and marketing professionals, customer service and hospitality staff make OnPassive the complete package. Those who become a part of and use OnPassive's technologically superior products will be amazed. For affiliates, OnPassive has rescued us. We are in it to win it. A heartfelt thanks to Mr. MUFAREH, the genius with heart.
All right, so a few things in that. Like, for example, they state in that they are putting people before products, which that's excellent. And that works great for an organization that is there to help the people. but it doesn't really work for a tech company, right? And this is kind of how they get away with being able to sign up a bunch of people without having any products. They tell people it's not about the products, it's actually about saving the world and love and pretty butterflies and unicorns and stars, And that's supposed to kind of take your mind off of the fact that you're in a tech company that has no tech. No tech whatsoever, is not using any kind of AI technology whatsoever or machine learning technology, and claims that they are. Hospitality staff. Yeah, I know. The wording makes people angry. It won't go public because public companies have independent audits. That means opening up your finance books to, and that's what Ash didn't want to do, which is why he never went and did what he was supposed to with the S.E.C. Right? Because he doesn't want to do this part. He doesn't want anyone to know anything, and he wants to keep all of that behind the scenes so that he can continue to lie to everyone. Anyway, back to my question, Ali. Have you deleted your accounts with those useless providers such as Zoom, Facebook, and Google? Ali, if you're still here, feel free to answer. Susie scam Susie. OnPassive has always put people ahead of profit, right? Because it's always been about signing up people, not about making products that people are going to want to pay for. Unicorns in the stars, right? Nortel 2.0. So I thought it would be fun, it's MLM Monday. So I thought it would be fun if we reacted to one of these lovely videos by John White and Bill Musk. But first, of course, I have to show you the website because they changed the website. Very soon, they're going to delete the accounts. If you really believed in OnPassive, they'd already be gone. OnPassive will help hungry people, like people in PNG who walked 2 hours to a town and bought a Visa card to spend $130 on this scam. Yep, I did the math with you guys. We figured out with all the fees that that's what it would be, US, and have no one to sell products to since the internet doesn't exist where they are. They don't have the data centers, which is why Ash had promised to build all the data centers. He was like, there's some places in the world and they don't have the internet and I can't scam them. So I got to give them the internet so that I can scam them. It's brilliant. Brilliant. I'm glad you're at least conversing with us, not just throwing wavy hands around. Just keep an open mind. Not just about OnPassive, but everything. Exactly. You should always be skeptical of everything, but maybe that's just me. So this is their lovely new website. It looks different than the last time we looked at it. Just slightly though. I mean, not really. It's still sort of the same ideas. There's always lots of stuff moving, And it's so funny because they're like, the business world can be complex and challenging, but with OnPassive, you can unleash your full potential and transform how you grow your business. And I'm like, no, you can't. No, you can't. They're like, don't worry, you get the OES, okay? And then you get OMail, which doesn't work. ONet, which is useless, where you're only talking to other people in OnPassive, so you can't sell anything on there like you can on Facebook, let's say. And OTrim. What happened to OTracker? Did it disappear? What happened to it? They also have OTracker, all of which simplify your workflow and boost productivity. And I'm like, productivity of what though? Because you keep signing up people that don't have access to the internet, really, or a bunch of people that don't run businesses. Remember, I told you we're always trying to figure out, is this thing for individuals who want to run a business, so they want to be in OnPassive to run this business? Or is it for businesses that need something to run their business? I don't think they know either. They've kind of like made this area bigger and less of a list. So now we get like a picture. Yay! The whole little video. but you gotta put your mouse over it. It's a lot. Then, you got this whole unlock your business potential with AI, even though there is no fucking AI. So we're just lying. We lie about the AI, you see, You know? So it's still ugly. I don't like it. I hate it. And then, of course, if you come down here, you're going to see their offices. They have a lot of them. They have India, Singapore, US of A, one on the Burj Khalifa, even though they were supposed to have two at the Burj Khalifa. One floor just randomly disappeared. All right. And I believe it was floor 152, was it? It just disappeared. It was supposed to also be part of this, but we don't know what happened to it. We're still looking for it. If you find it, let us know. Same with Marty's Johnson. And now they have this one in Egypt. And it's like, okay, so you've opened up 5 million fucking offices, but you only have a few products. You're like, why do you need all these offices? It was floor 151. Okay. 151. We don't know where it went. We miss it. All right. They went on and on and on about how great it was. They were buying the 2 floors. The missing floor is under the train station, Scam Chan says. It must be, because we can't find it. All right, the recovering Hunbot has working AI versus OnPassive's non-working Al. Yes. Okay, so yeah, that's what it must have been then, because 152 jumped in my head. I was probably thinking of the observation decks. Because, yeah, I have gone through the whole building. And we talked about how each floor is actually 3 different office areas. Because the thing's kind of like 3 different hallways, remember? Each, like, hallway is kind of like a different office area. So I don't think that they bought the whole floor like they state. They're just renting out one of the office areas on floor 134 right now. And again, we don't know what the fuck happened to floor 151. It just kind of disappeared. Ash was like, yeah, we got 2 floors, 134, 151. He went on about it for a few weeks. And then when they put the office up, it was only floor 134. And we were like, oh shit. What happened? Missing German office furniture. Never paid for, probably. Well, if it was paid for, it was paid with the O founders' money, so you could have at least given it to them. Anyway, this is what the website looks like as of right now, November 20th. It's a website. I don't know. I feel like it moves too much. Like, as you see, there's like transitional things that happen as I'm kind of scrolling down. It's just a lot. But I do have to say, out of all of them, this one does seem like one of the more minimal ones. Usually when you come on here, you get things popping up at you and all this crazy stuff. It's not as bad as they have been in the past. So it might be one of the better websites they've had. At least I don't have like confetti and shit. That's been a thing before, where we've gone to the website that it's had confetti come up and you're like, what the fuck is going on? So this is what I mean. They laid off some of the like animations that they usually do. When a founder wanted to visit the Burj to say hi, he was told off by the senior leaders for trying to. Yes, and the funny thing was that was right after they said, go there. Literally are like, yeah, you can like totally go there and it'll be proven to you that we're up on the Burj Khalifa. You can go see the office. Especially if you're in OnPassive. You're allowed, you can go. Ash made a huge deal about that, so someone went and then they were told, like, in the lobby, basically, you have to pay to get in. And it's a tourist attraction there. So you're not getting past like the main lobby unless you have a special pass, which not everyone in OnPassive has been given to get through to say, yes, I'm a part of the office area here, right? Or you have to pay the tourist fees. And it is real fucking expensive to do anything at this place, okay? They have quite a few different touristic attractions. They have the observation desk, which someone pointed out in my chat that, yeah, that costs up the ass. But then they also have like this special restaurant you can go to, like up at the very top, I guess, and stuff. And then you have to like pay for entry into the place. So then you can also just kind of like pay for the entry, and that has different prices. All of them are way too much. It's very much a tourist attraction. It is the largest building in the world. Like literally, it's the largest building in the world. So people go there to see the largest building in the world. They make mad money off of it, including with the lovely ads that OnPassive bought for thousands upon thousands of dollars, almost $500,000. Like, has probably been spent, I would say, on doing those ads just on the side of the Birch. Like, when you think about it, because of the cost, every single time that they do it, it's thousands of dollars. It's like 50-something $1,000, depending on like how long the show is and stuff. You know, like some things go into it, but it's a lot of fucking money, dude. It's okay. It's almost as much money as most people make in a year. I'm not joking. It's too much money to be on the side of this thing. Yet somehow they've been doing it several times. They've had quite a few shows. Every time that there's a video release of them showing the Burj Khalifa, it's because they just paid for another ad campaign on the side of the Burj Khalifa for the $50,000. So I think that's like the only money that's been spent out of the $108 million probably has been on the marketing of this thing, because I don't know where else Ash would have gotten the money to do this, because it's not just that. Also in buying the fucking train station that you just don't need it. You just don't need it. It's like basically, what would you need that for? I still don't understand it. But all that has been done. So John White and good old Bill Must have been releasing several videos. Several of them over the last few days. I might be able to play one more for you that you guys can just watch. But as of right now, actually, yeah, do you know what? Let's play that first. And then after you guys see the second one that they just released, which I find pretty funny, then we'll react to the MLM one, because I definitely want to break that down. Because you know that I've done a bazillion videos about why I've left MLMs. I've talked about why other people have left MLMs. That's my whole gig. When I started on here was I did r/videos on anti-MLM and other funny topics. And then I did videos discussing me leaving both It Works and then S.E.C. And those videos did quite well for me on here. And that's kind of how I got my quote-unquote popularity on this app. So I think it's hilarious that they're now releasing videos called, like, why people leave MLMs. But this video that they released is confusing to me. And I don't really understand it. That's the Dubai Small Wiener Club. Possibly. I don't really understand it, but it's called drop shippers. Yeah. And I know you're kind of like, wait, drop shippers with OnPassive? Like, what? I know. It says drop shippers. OnPassive have you covered. Not OnPassive has you covered. OnPassive have you covered. It's beautiful. You'll love it. Enjoy.
Dropshipping is a form of retail business in which the seller accepts customer orders without keeping stock on hand. The global dropshipping market was valued at $225.99 billion in 2022. Since 2020, how many people actually make money dropshipping? The average success rate of a drop shipping business is between 10% and 20% according to top drop shippers around the web. It is estimated that only between 10% and 20% of drop shipping businesses succeed. What is the failure rate of drop shipping? It's 90% of all new business failed within 5 years. Why do 90% of drop shippers fail? The main reason that 90% of drop shipping businesses fail is that they don't focus on adding as much value as possible for the customer. OnPassive is the answer to all those companies who failed in their businesses. How can OnPassive help? By offering a platform that will get the drop shippers before people who are interested in what they are selling. OnPassive's AI-driven digital products have an oasis for drop shipping companies. It is called targeted traffic. Targeted traffic eliminates user error because it takes away that concern about AI digital technology that will do their business for them. With OnPassive's O-Tracker, all campaigns that a company has will be tracked by the best analytics tool on the market. If that isn't the answer to a drop shipping company's dream, advanced technology comes to drop shippers and the drop shipping industry. OnPassive's state-of-the-art digital products and solutions are monumental technology of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Is the rescuer for all who have been caught on the dark side of drop shipping? What is the dark side of drop shipping? Low profit margins. You put less money in, but you get less money out. That means you have to do a lot of business just to stay afloat, let alone turn a profit, especially considering most of the money goes to the supplier. OnPassive helps the drop shippers and the companies that they work with by giving both value above market. The more drop shippers make, the more the drop shipping industry strives. How will drop shippers strive? OnPassive is developing its own e-commerce platform. OnPassive stores which have each drop shipper's name on them. Presently, there are over 3 million customers in OnPassive who in all likelihood are interested in buying products. That should perk up the ears of all the drop shippers and drop shipping companies worldwide. To get ready for this explosion of growth for all drop shipping companies and drop shippers, OnPassive is going to give you 3 free gifts just for registering in OnPassive. Those gifts are from an email provider called OMail, a URL shortener called OTrim, and a social media platform called ONet. These are billion-dollar industries being given away to help you get started to your ultimate success as a drop shipper and the drop shipping industry. You will be registering to be customers in the most advanced ecosystem in the world, the OnPassive's ecosystem, encrypted from end to end.
I can't. The number of times that they said the word drop ship and drop shipping in that just has me giggling. Like I can't get through it. I'm literally like tearing up right now. I giggle through the whole thing. They're like drop shipping and drop shippers and drop and drop and drop. I'm like, oh my God, do not drink when you're watching this video every time they say drop ship. Okay, you will die and you won't even be 30 seconds into the fucking thing, okay? They literally said it like so many times. I was like, you don't have to keep saying, we get it's about drop shipping. Like, stop it. Stop it. And yeah, that's the other thing is that like they're acting like they're the first company that's ever come up with this again, just like they do with all their tech, right? So now they're like, not only have we come up with tech, we've also made data centers and now we've invented drop shipping. And I'm like, you ever heard of Amazon? Like, you know, the word lost all meaning. I know, it's just they took the word and they just wrung it and wrung it and wrung it until you didn't want to hear it about it anymore. You were like, I never want to hear the word dropship ever fucking again now. It was ridiculous. It had me giggling. So they've been like pumping out these videos like constantly, but the last several days, I'd say last like week or so, there's been a lot of them. It's amped up a little bit, so I thought it would be fun if we reacted to my favorite one.
Multi-level marketing, MLM, is a business model that involves unsalaried hierarchical sales teams selling products directly to consumers in conjunction with recruiting additional company sales representatives.
Yeah, I mean, mainly,
Multi-level marketing may also be referred to as referral marketing or network marketing.
See, the recruitment part has to be what's like on the forefront in order for it to be MLM marketing.
Members of an MLM company sell and promote the products to a community of potential customers.
Yeah, just like how people in OnPassive are using OnPassive products that they're supposed to promote to other people. Right. Right.
They are often expected to also bring in new members to join the ever-expanding sales levels of the company. Within the
There it is, yes. Yeah, they're supposed to be recruiting people underneath them in a downline structure. See, that part's important, right? It can't be an MLM unless you have the recruiting and the building of a downline. That's what makes the MLM the MLM.
Structure of a multi-level marketing company, there is always a hierarchy of roles or levels that can be ascended through successful sales or recruitment.
Yeah, like how in OnPassive, they have the O founders, which are considered to be the original investors in this, that are promised to be at the top of the pyramid. Underneath them, right, you would have the O founders that are reselling. And then I'm sure that, the LCs might be at the top. So consider it like LCs are the very first one. Then the second level is the O founders. And then underneath them is the resellers. That's how this would go. That makes OnPassive, it has the same model. The only difference is that no one in OnPassive makes any money, right? It also has to do with the money and the direction in which it moves. Now, the argument a lot of people make to me is, Queen, there's no difference between an MLM business structure and the business structure at my work. Like, they have a CEO, and then they have managers, and then they have us workers. How is it any different? And I say, thank you. I'm so glad you asked. You see, at your work, the money moves downwards. It comes from the top and then goes down to the bottom. Okay? All right? In an MLM, however, it's the opposite way. The people that are dependent to make the most money are the people at the very, very bottom. Whereas in most businesses, it's the other way around. Therefore, the money goes from the bottom to the top. It goes up instead of down. And that is why it is scammy. And your business that you work at, which also does not necessarily have this model, you're not recruiting at your job. Even when I was working in sales, I didn't have to recruit people underneath me as downlines. That's why I say it's also very important to mention the downline recruiting part. Okay? But the main thing is while you're also doing that, the money is moving up. So you're depending on the people under you to make the money. Okay? In real workplaces and corporations, the people at the top are at the top because they have the most responsibility. They're in charge of making the money. It's also a different kind of like power dynamic, if you will. It's just funny because in MLMs, people at the bottom don't realize that they should have all the power. So they just kind of keep working there for free.
Which are tied to rewards and promotions for the associates. What is multi-level marketing in simple terms? Multi-level marketing, MLM, or network marketing, is individuals selling products to the public, often by word of mouth and direct sales.
Usually by attraction marketing, which is when they are told that they should use the product and publicly review the product and hope that they can be enough of an influence to the people that see them to then go and buy the product. Or, better yet, you promote your lifestyle selling the product and then they want to have a lifestyle like yours, so they join on to the scam. Again, those that work in like corporate or actual sales job, you go home at the end of the day, you're not expected to make sales. With MLMs, it's around the clock, 24/7. You're always working. You actually work more in an MLM than you do in a 9-to-5. They lie to you about that.
The main idea behind the MLM strategy is to promote maximum number of distributors for the product and exponentially increase the sales force. Why
Oh my God, what happened to that guy's head?
is MLM legal? They also rely on recruitment, with people at the top making the most money. They might charge fees to new recruits who join or have mandatory quotes of products to buy. However,
Just like how in On Passive, they kind of tell you that you should probably be paying the $250 for O-Connect. Especially if they're going to start having all their webinars on O-Connect. Right? If everything they do is going to one day be through O-Connect, everyone that joins On Passive is going to have to get O-Connect. It's the same thing as having an auto ship, sweetheart.
as long as an MLM makes more than 70% of its profits from selling its products or services, it is considered a legal business.
That is semi-true, but not really. It depends. Again, it depends on the money flow. It depends on what's said by the distributors. That's not necessarily a rule, but it is a good rule of thumb for an MLM to follow.
99% of MLM participants lose money. That means just 1% actually turn a profit. That is generally just those at the very top of a recruitment structure, because recruiters earn from their own sales and the sales of everyone.
You remember how in On Passive, you guys told them to pay $97 so they can ensure that they're at the top of the pyramid and they hold their spot there? How is that different than having a 1%? I just want to know.
They recruit, and their recruits and so on. Those at the top can earn a profit. What are the disadvantages of MLM?
Well, see, Scam Chan, the funny thing is not necessarily, but if your sellers are your main customers, okay, that's what I would say. If you have more sellers than customers, yeah, but the problem is that the sellers are oftentimes always a customer. And that's not always the case. If you work in a corporate office in sales, you don't have to buy the product to sell it. You know what I'm saying? The problem here is that there's no customers, right? So here, it's only sellers. And here at On Passive, like I said, they even paid for a top spot. I mean, technically, the O-Founder position, the buy-in for the $97 was supposed to guarantee them to be the 1%, right? So, they're doing everything that they're talking about.
The high degree of flexibility and autonomy also comes with a drawback. Distributors only receive limited support from the company. The lack of sales training or support from expertise.
Mark says, I think, but could be wrong, that Ash's lawyers admitted On Passive is an MLM, which has to have products, but the S.E.C. case focused on the first 3 years with no product. That's a pyramid and illegal. The S.E.C. case happened because they didn't register their securities, and therefore any sense that they made via the investors as O-Founders, the $97, was considered to be ill-gotten gains, and therefore automatically like fraud. And as I said in this stream, they have so many laws against fraud. Like, they have it in the Securities Act. They have it in the Securities Exchange Act. Then they have that Section 17. Like, they have so many things that basically outline that you have to be honest. You have to give the consumers, and especially the investors, the chance to make an informed, educated decision about your products and about the investment in your company, you know, and what you're selling, like everything. So they never did any of that. So it doesn't matter. He could release 50 products tomorrow and that won't matter because he never registered with the S.E.C. as having securities, like we read today, right? So it's not even just about the fact that they didn't have products. It's that he also lied to people and manipulated them into thinking that these sales were legal and that he was going to have products for 3 years and not had products. It's more about the fact that he lied and was giving them misinformation and not allowing them, like I kept saying, to make an educated decision. That's extremely important in business law over here, is that the people have to be, the company has to be transparent about their sales, all the securities. They have to be transparent about what you're buying. And especially if you have a program like an MLM where you're selling stuff, they're supposed to also let you know all the information about that. Ash has failed to do anything he's supposed to, which is why this thing has been such a ride. It's like every time this man had a chance to make the right decision and follow a law, he went the opposite way. And then did something completely opposite. And we would be sitting here like, why would you do it like this? Making it even harder on himself every single time. And therefore, harder for anyone else trying to fucking figure out what he's doing. Including the people in this thing. Like, they can't even ask him a question. And it's that kind of thing that's going to get the S.E.C. on your ass. You know, you don't register your securities. You lie to everybody about your securities, including them. They really don't like that, you know? They never applied for the exemption to register or to hand in any of the appropriate documents necessary. Like, just so much went wrong that didn't have to go wrong.
May make their sales efforts very inefficient. Also, a multi-level marketing organization lacks control over its sales force.
So up until this point, you didn't understand if he was for or against MLMs, right? Right? You were kind of like, well, he's just telling us what MLMs are. You know, like, what's the harm in saying this is what an MLM is? This is what constitutes an MLM. And now, in the last couple sentences here, we get their stance that they don't like MLMs. Except they are an MLM.
How do you succeed in multi-level marketing? Learn the basics. Find a target market. Choose the right compensation plan. Set and track goals regularly. Reach out via email marketing. Use other marketing channels. Manage data and time. Why do people quit MLM?
Whoa! Just rapid fire all the different things that they do off. And a lot of these things are things that the people in OnPassive are supposed to be doing. Right? I mean, you want them to send out emails. That's why you have OMail. You want them to market the product. Use the product. Attraction marketing. Right? Sign up people into it. But you know what? Why do they quit MLMs? Why should people quit OnPassive, John and Bill? You let us know.
About 99% of people who join multi-level marketing companies lose money. According to MLM statistics, 997 out of 1,000 surveyed said they lost money. 99% of distributors in multi-level marketing only receive a couple of $100 commission per year. How many people make money in multi-level marketing? 63% of participants join MLM companies to make money by selling the product or service to others. One quarter, 25%, made a profit. Of those that made money, more than half, 53%, made less than $5,000.
In a whole year. Yeah, those statistics are correct. OnPassive, the MLM.
How big is the MLM industry? $189.71 billion.
Because it is completely oversaturated. There's way too many of them, and then there's way too many people in each one, for fuck's
According
sake.
to a report issued by Grandview Research, the size of the MLM industry stood at $189.71 billion at the end of 2021. How can OnPassive help the 99% who don't make money only lose money?
You can't? Are you going to start them an Obless account and donate your money to them? Because otherwise, what are we doing here? You are an MLM. You're included in this. Yet in this video, you're acting like you're not. And instead, you're the solution to those crappy MLMs. Which, guess what? MLMs do that too. That's right. They all say they're the safe MLM. They're better than all the other ones. Trust me, I did S.E.C. It has everyone convinced it's the safe MLM. But I knew better and have. So, why is your MLM that doesn't even have a fucking product, Ash? Why would you let this video go out? It talks smack on MLMs, and you're an MLM. These are all the reasons why you shouldn't join us. Now let me tell you why you should, is what this is.
You don't have to recruit, so don't worry about bothering your relatives, your friends, your warm market.
Since when? Since when did we not have to recruit here? I'm pretty sure you tell them to share this opportunity with everyone. Have people come to the webinars. Maury says that's a lie.
Leaders with large organizations can rest without worrying about motivating your people to go recruit others into your business.
My whole thing about that. All right, I have an issue. And this has always been my issue with the corporations getting in on this, okay? You're in an MLM or another type of corporation, okay? You're in OnPassive to make it easier for you to grow your other business. However, OnPassive keeps signing up people underneath you for just OnPassive. Eventually, you kind of come to the conclusion that OnPassive is probably not going to help you get more people into your other business. And then you leave OnPassive. Do you see why this company won't work out? If you're already running a business, you're going to want to make that business better, which is allegedly what you're supposed to be at OnPassive for. Why the fuck do you then want to build a team in that business, especially if you're already in an MLM company, right? And you're supposed to be building a team over there. Explain. Why the fuck would anyone do that? And why would I? Because who knows? Maybe some of these other companies also need to recruit or want to get more customers, right? So why the hell am I going to worry about getting all these customers for OnPassive shit when I'm over here trying to sell another product? I want them to buy my product, not OnPassive, damn it.
OnPassive will do all of the recruiting and getting customers for the 99% who are not successful in MLM. With artificial intelligence and machine learning technology, OnPassive will send targeted traffic to each of your members who come into OnPassive with you. This technology is truly revolutionary. OnPassive helps you guarantee that each one is successful. Think of how that will make your people feel, knowing that you care about them and their future. You will become heroes, and OnPassive will make your job easier. So join OnPassive by registering through the onpassive.com website. When you do that, you will receive 3 free gifts.
Yeah, that's what they did this. They did this. That's right. They did a whole video where they say MLM's bad when they're a fucking MLM themselves. And then they tell you, okay, that they're going to actually help the 1%. They're good, but the rest of you, 99%, they're going to help you be the 1% with OnPassive. And I am like, the lion, the witch, the audacity of this bitch to come in here like that without a product and a compensation plan. I'm still waiting for the compensation plan to be in writing. If you're doing a 100% compensation plan, put it in a compensation plan in writing, Ash. Let's go. Make it a real thing. Then they can sell this thing. You can actually release the O-Connect, and then they can make money like you're saying they will. But they have one nerve to do that whole video talking about MLMs like that when they are one, pretending that they are one, but if they are one, they're better than all the other ones, when they don't even have a way for you to make money in there right now. The only thing you can do in there right now is you can go in there and do a free trial of the O-Connect or pay 250 O-Coin, which is $250 US, to use O-Connect for a few months. And then you can fuck around with the O-Ned and the O-Trim, which just shortens the URLs. Alright? Or the O-Tracker, which just tracks traffic on a website for you. And in a weird way, too. We might get into that in the future, by the way. Stay tuned for that. So it's like, people that have already failed in other MLMs would come here and they would be like, okay, but what am I selling? And I can't afford $250 for the product. All right, my auto ship was only $80 at the last place. Why would I come over here? You know what I'm saying? It was just, that was the most ridiculous fucking video I think that they've ever released. Especially considering, right? Yeah, Earl is Earl. Especially considering that, like, they are an MLM. They got nothing. They have less to offer people right now than all the other MLMs. All the other MLMs, at least if you join them, you can actually get an auto ship and the products will show up at your house. And if you build a team, you're not going to make a lot of money, but at least you have the ability to do these things that you do not yet have the ability to do over in OnPassive. So they got a nerve, okay? They got quite the nerve to come on here and say that. That one just floored me. Floored me. I couldn't believe that at the end they're like, oh, but don't worry, we can help you. And I don't know why it surprised me. It shouldn't have. But I was like, Jesus Christ, this man has no shame. Bill Musk didn't get approval from Ash before releasing this video. I hope not. I hope not. Honestly. Otherwise, it's even worse, you know? I still can't believe that ad showed that $25 would turn into $2 million per month forever. Yes, this is what they do. All of their old ads used to say that. The buy-in used to be $25 for this thing back from like the first year, 2018 to 2019. And that's what they used to say to people all the time. It was always, we'll turn that into millions per month. And then they'd never explain how. And none of the products were even close to made. At least now they have like a few of them on OES. They're not the greatest ones. But, you know, at least there's something there. It's just all of them are free except for O-Connect. And that's the one that barely works. Right? Or at least it doesn't work how they want it to work. So that's kind of funny to me. Weapons of mass spamming. Yes, it's awful. So, that's about all I got for you guys today. I think that we should see ourselves out with the OnPassive theme song since everyone loves that song over here. But that is what they are asking for in the lawsuit. They are asking for a jury trial. Again, I told you, 2025 February. And I'll let you know all the updates in between now and then. And then, of course, when that pops off, we're going to be on that like flies on rice. So get ready for that. You got a little ways, though. And, yeah, I hope all of you have a fabulous, fabulous rest of your day. And I will see you all very, very soon. And I have one more on passive video coming out this week as well, so stay tuned for that. Mwah! Bye! And fuck you, Ash, you scammer.
We are